What's up, friends? PG here. Welcome to my review of Rebecca Yarros' Fourth Wing, the divisive book talk classic steamy romance fantasy novel. I did not know how divisive this book was. I finished it, I wrote my review, I'm now videoing my review, and when I went to find a thumbnail for my review, I saw the hatred and the backlash that this book is getting. And I engaged with some of it. I watched it on YouTube. And it made me think, am I wrong about loving this book? Am I being too gracious, too forgiving? And I don't think so. I think that there's a space for contrarianism, especially on the internet, especially on YouTube. If there's something that a lot of people love, you are just going to be contributing to the noise from a content creation perspective. So the smart move as a content creator is to say, I hate this thing that you all love. Because you'll always have that contrarian audience that jumps in and says, thank God somebody said it. For some reason, it makes you feel more intelligent, more supreme to be so discerning about these things, right? Like, you like that because you don't understand it. I am leaning fully into my love for this book. I agree with a lot of the points made around world building, around maybe some flat character building, especially with Violet. But I think this is a great book. This is a book that we need to meet on its own terms, right? It is a balance between YA and adult fiction. I always try to think about the audience of a book. Am I a 28-year-old man? The target audience for this? No, I'm not. And so should my review be from my perspective or the perspective of the target audience? That's a metaphysical question, right? But either way, I wanted to start with that. I was always somebody who voraciously consumed fantasy literature, and my favorite thing in the world were dragons when I was a kid. Then I hit puberty, and my favorite thing in the world became girls and sex. And guess what? This book has both of those things, but my fear, my skepticism around the romance book talk type of subgenre was that it would be smut, that it would be all fucking, and the fantasy would take a back seat. I'm sure that's true for many books and series in this genre. This is my first foray into this, right? And that's what I appreciate the most about this book, is that it feels like the romance aspect, while present, the build-up, the tension, the foreplay, it feels secondary to the actual narrative, which in my opinion is strong. I feel like Violet is a strong female protagonist. I think the character development of both her, Xaden, and the ancillary characters is strong. You could make the argument that characters like Rhiannon and Rydok and Sawyer and Dane and the cast and crew are flat, but I would argue that, supplementary characters, secondary characters are inherently flat, right? Like, they fill that role. Rydok is the comedic relief. Rhiannon is the best friend. Like, there's not enough time to make all these characters round. You only have so many pages and so many things to do, and then you want Yarros to build the world on top of that. You're asking for a lot here, people. I don't blame you for that. I think that's important. You got to make choices, right? And so I had to confront my own biases with this book. And those biases were immediately proven to be incorrect and wrong. I think that is part of why this book is so good in my mind, is that the focus is on the fantasy first and the romance element is secondary. And then Violet is a fantastic protagonist, well written, engaging. Her journey of growth, transcendence, and self-belief is easy to connect to and understand. And the romance of Xaden, while perhaps cliche in ways, he is the dark, shadow-wielding, brooding, tall, ripped dude, giving the people what they want. And there's a reason things are cliche or fall into the category of trope, because people like them and they're good. So while I feel that is a valid criticism, it's not something I'm going to be complaining about, right? And so we see these relationships unfold. We see both the primary relationship, we see Violet's relationship with Dane, who's sort of Xaden's foil in a lot of ways. Her mother, while not physically present in most of the book, is always there. Her presence is always felt in a lot of different ways. I mean, she's the reason that Violet is there. And so this is a novel very much about choices. At the end, and we're going to get into spoilers now, so if you haven't read the whole thing, I don't know why you're watching this, but go away politely. We see the groundwork set for choices to be made. Dane has a choice to make, and he makes his choice. General Sorengale will have choices to make. Mira will have choices to make. The plot is uncovered, and Violet's right at the middle of it, and she makes her choice, which we know is the one that she will make, the morally correct one, right? To defend the people outside of the ward's boundaries at the cost of Liam, who is a fantastic character, so nice, so kind, so likable, that we should have known that he would die. But I applaud Yaros for concluding the book in that way, because it would have been easy to pull punches, and a decent book would have just had her graduate, hooray, you're a writer now. But Yaros says, no, we need to up the ante, we need to up the scale, and sends them out to Atabine, where things go down, right? Things get crazy. We see a primary character die, showing us that, yes, this is a YA novel. This is tailoring itself to multiple audiences, but this is war, right? This is war. Things are going to happen. That, for me, took this book from a good book to a great book, and really sparked the flame of my desire to continue to dive into this. Ultimately, my love for fantasy, while always present, was very much rekindled by this book and by this series. I'm very excited to read Iron Flame. Books are hard. Sequels are hard. It's difficult to follow up on something as good as this, an expository introduction to a world, to these characters. She set herself up for success with that ending, in my opinion. But there's always the question of, where do you go now? How do you take that second step? How do you connect one narrative to the next while thinking about the series as a whole, which will be 5 books, I believe? So going into that, those are my thoughts and my questions. And in the end, I am giving this book 6 stars out of 7. 6 stars. I think it's a fantastic book. Is it the greatest book I've ever read? No, but it is very good. It is worth reading if you love dragons, if you love fantasy, if you love sex, if you love all the above. Check it out. Fourth Wing. Thanks for watching.